Welcome to the Michelle Mission. 2 Men, 1 podcast, every black film ever made. My name is Vincent Williams, and I am joined as always by my partner.
Hey, what's up? This is Len, aka the Bat Tribble. Hello.
And as we bring Black Music Month to an end, we will spend some time with the showstopper.
Amen.
Who better to bring a close to our month-long celebration than the Queen of Soul herself?
All hail the Queen,
Aretha Franklin, as we will discuss 2018's documentary covering the 1972 live recording of the best-selling gospel album of all time, Aretha Franklin's Amazing Grace. The documentary of the same name, Amazing Grace, here on the Michelle Mission. But before we get to that, what's going on, Len? How are things?
Things are going pretty well, Vincent. How about with yourself, my friend?
Can't complain. Can't complain at all.
That's cool. Shout out to everyone out there who are catching us live via StreamYard as we live stream to Facebook, Twitch, and to YouTube. And to everyone out there in the chat, hello.
Good evening, one and all.
Farrell Blackwell out there rocking his Dervell Martin gear, ready to do this.
All right.
That's dope. You know, he says that every week. Do you think he bought multiple shirts, or is he literally washing it every week?
Either option, I'm really happy about.
Me too. Don't even matter.
And if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
Amen. All right. Point of order for all of you out there tonight.
Did you move the gavel?
The gavel has moved. You do you want the gavel, Vincent?
I can't believe for the first time you actually made.
I will get you the gavel.
Some type of comment where it would have been appropriate, and you moved the gavel. All right, say it again.
Point of order. Yes, we do have a gavel here in the Bat Base, ladies and gentlemen. Just to let you know that tonight there will be no top 5 listing tonight.
Oh,
yes. I got busy.
Life is what happens when you're making plans.
I know.
Yeah.
And I had a good idea for a top 5, but I just
Okay.
didn't have time to really execute it. And I think it's one that you would have had fun with.
You want to tell me the idea, or you just want to hold on?
I'll tell you what the idea was.
What was the idea?
Well, my idea was this movie,
Okay.
Amazing Grace, is not only named after the album of the same name, but it is also named after a song.
Yes.
Whose rendition by Aretha Franklin, while maybe it's not considered the gold standard, it's definitely the one that a lot of people go to.
It's something. I mean, we're obviously going to talk about tonight, but it is something.
It is something.
It is something.
It is something else.
Where she sings it.
Yes. So that got me to thinking, were there any other songs by Aretha Franklin who, just by looking at the title, might inspire a movie, and then trying to come up with a quick byline or idea of what that movie would be?
Oh. Say a Little Prayer.
Okay, see, I was thinking about Say a Little Prayer.
So, you know, it's somebody, it could be a man or woman, pining for someone, you know, in their office.
Okay.
You know, someone in their life. Chain of Fools.
See, now Chain of Fools, definitely.
You know,
that you could go
right. That can be a revenge flick.
Yeah, it could be a revenge flick.
Bunch of women who find out that they're just a link in the chain.
Yeah.
And now they want revenge.
Yeah. But it also, Chain of Fools, like in my mind, could be like some real hardcore 70s black crime caper.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Just like some like, you know, because I love like a good caper film.
Yeah.
You
oh
know,
yeah.
like just a chain of fools, and you know, all of a sudden all it takes is one link in that chain.
One link in the chain
to mess it up.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you're as strong as your chain is, you're just nothing but a chain of fools.
Sure. I mean, technically, it's a Nina Simone song.
True.
But her version of Young, Gifted, and Black is iconic. So you can go a whole bunch of ways with that. You get Issa Rae involved, or Spike Lee, or
Ryan Coogler,
so you can do whatever you want with Young, Gifted, and Black.
See, you say Spike Lee, and I definitely hear you on Spike Lee. There's a part of me that would want to see maybe, and not even necessarily Ryan Coogler, but maybe even Jordan Peele, just to see him try and put like some type of like go left with it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You're not expecting it to be, you know what I mean? Or somebody like Lena Waithe, who maybe has a pulse a little bit on the zeitgeist of today, a little bit more than maybe Spike, or even to a degree Ava might have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always going to go with Rock Steady. That's actually my favorite Aretha Franklin song. And that could just be a stylized caper.
See, Rock Steady could be a caper, but and I didn't want to go Rock Steady, one, because I like the song. I don't love the song.
Okay.
And
fair.
I could see somebody.
It's a dark horse.
I could see somebody appropriating that for like a sequel to Flash Forward.
Okay.
And like I don't need a sequel.
You've been burned by dance films. You just leaving Rock Steady alone.
Yeah.
Because at some point they're gonna have somebody trying to dance.
I don't need it.
Remember Michael De Lorenzo said he was a street dancer. He had a feather earring, and then he started doing like modern dance and ballet.
I know. Yeah, we don't need that. We don't need it. Now, Rock Steady could work. I don't know if it works as the title, but it certainly could work as the inspiration for the biopic of the Rock Steady crew.
Oh, absolutely. I wonder if that might be where they got their name from.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be surprised at all. So that was my idea. Of
Yeah. All right.
But we didn't go there. But
we'll workshop it.
We workshop
it. All right.
Well, that was fun.
That always. And like you said, you sit and talk about music and Aretha, and this is gonna be a good night.
Miss Bakiba talking about Mary, Don't You Weep. We had a whole musical skit as kids about Mary. Oh, yeah, that would be, I can see that. I could definitely see that. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Don't you moan.
Most definitely. All right. Let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen, because the last few shows have been very obese. So we're going to try and be a little bit more tighter.
To keep it lean.
Most definitely. And we're going to get directly into our listener mail, Vincent.
All right. Missives from the missionaries.
We got an email from Rodney Crothers.
Hey, what's up, Rodney?
Not necessarily a top 5.
Okay.
Belated congratulations on reaching 300 Men of the Mission.
Thank you, sir.
I'm playing catch up and recently binged all of the last 2 months of shows.
Okay.
If it's not too late for Black Music Month, I was curious who you would put on a list of best singing performance by an actor.
Oh.
I'm not talking about singers who appeared in a movie, so not Aretha and the Blues Brothers or Jennifer Hudson playing Aretha, but maybe Eddie Murphy and Dreamgirls would count.
Yeah.
I've been thinking of this since hearing the Color Purple episode as I crushed decades ago when I learned that it wasn't Margaret Avery bringing tears to my eyes at the end.
Okay. All right.
He's got a little bit more, but I'm going to stop there for a moment. Best singing performance by an actor.
All right. You got one?
Oh, wow. Let me think. So it's by an actor, so they can't be a singer. So
right. Or, not known.
Yeah. So that knocks out Michael Jackson, knocks out Beyonce.
Yeah.
Knocks out, well, he hit the Blues Brothers, so that knocks out Ray Charles.
Yeah.
Jeez, I can't think of one off the top of my head.
I got one. It's a little bit of a cheat since he is a musician, but he's not known as a singer.
Okay.
I love Mos Def as Chuck Berry.
Okay. All right. What I don't know what movie is he Chuck Berry in?
Cadillac Records.
Oh, that's right.
He also plays I forget the musician's name, but the dude who sings Caldonia. Caldonia, what makes your big head so hard?
I know that song.
Yeah, he plays that character in Lackawanna Blues.
Oh, it does. Okay.
So I'm gonna go with Mos Def.
Mos Def is a good one.
All right,
that's a good one. I was trying to think of. Wow. Who was I just watching does their own you know who does their own singing? I'm pretty sure.
Who?
But I think she's a singer too. Audra Day.
Oh yeah, she's a singer.
Yeah. Because she's great.
Yeah.
She's the best thing about that movie. The United States versus Billie Holiday. Oh wow. Who did we just watch? Maybe it wasn't me and you. Can't remember. We just watched something where it was celebrated because this person did their own sing. Oh, Chadwick Boseman.
I was wondering. Yeah, Chadwick Boseman did a lot of the singing.
Don't get on up.
Get on up. Yeah.
So he did a lot of his own singing. That's good.
You can never go wrong with Chadwick Boseman.
Sammy Davis Jr. does not count.
No.
Farrell Blackwell. He is a singer.
No. He's everything.
Then Farrell Blackwell asked, "Does Milli Vanilli count?" No, because they're not actors. Talk about a chain of fools.
I told you it's been like a year. I told you I spent 45 minutes down a rabbit hole reading about Milli Vanilli.
How can you spend 45 minutes reading about
Dude, it is quietly a fascinating story how that thing spiraled out of control.
Wow.
And then, it ends tragically.
I know. Yeah.
But so it just says so much about that period in pop music that it could even happen.
Yeah.
Here's the crazy thing. In today's landscape, I don't even know how much of a controversy Milli Vanilli would be. Because none of these people sing. Like, if Milli Vanilli said, okay, basically we're studio singers, like, that's damn near everybody.
Yeah, see, but no, there's a difference. It's one thing to be in the studio and them to put a whole ton of effects on your voice.
It's done. They actually harmonize you up.
They had different brothers in there.
Right. But remember, they went on Arsenio and they performed. Maybe you don't remember because you didn't fall down a Milli Vanilli rabbit hole like I did.
I did not.
Remember, they went on Arsenio Hall and performed with their own voices.
And they were horrible, if I remember.
They were no more horrible than the voices that sung the songs, though.
I seem to remember it being not that great.
And look, again, it's Milli Vanilli. The bar was never that high.
The reason why it wouldn't be as much of an issue, like you said, right now, is because they'd be vocoded all up.
Right.
They'd just be tweaking them in the studio.
Right.
And it would be their voices.
So they never would have had to do that in the first place.
No.
All right.
Looks as quiet as kept. I was a huge Alexander O'Neal fan.
Oh, hey, don't you say nothing. Don't say nothing.
Have
crazy.
you ever seen Alexander O'Neal live?
I have not.
Okay. Don't. And then I saw him. Now I've heard that in like fairly recent years, he's been like, you can't see him live. It's just not even good. But I saw him at the height of his powers live.
Okay.
Don't. No.
I mean, he was the lead singer of the time before he got fired or he quit, depending on who you talk to.
It's probably because he couldn't perform live.
Like, is he any worse than Morris Day?
No. See, here's the thing. Because Morris Day stayed in his lane vocally.
That's
okay. Alexander O'Neal could sing, but Alexander O'Neal had apparently, I don't know if he had asthma, like COPD. He had bad respiratory problems.
Oh, man. No.
So like live, that man would be like, fake, can't conceal it. Just the whole show.
He wasn't going through his conditioning. Like
no,
like Alexander O'Neal strikes me as a man who had a big lunch before he performed.
Yeah, but you know what? You know who strikes you and has had a big lunch too? Gerald Levert. And Gerald Levert would get out there and blow.
Okay. Gerald Levert could actually sing now.
Well,
Like when you can actually sing.
So you're saying
you can have a
couldn't actually sing?
Like he can sing well enough to be the lead singer of the band that Prince put together.
He can sing as good as Sherelle. Is that what you're saying?
Or Morris Day.
Well, he sang better than Morris Day.
Right, which is why he got the big head and quit and or was fired, depending on who you listen to. Depending whose version of the story you believe. I don't need you, you little blank, 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 blank. I'm going to make my own way.
Rodney continues. P.S. Len's Nia Long top 5, if you remember the top 5 undeserving co-stars of Nia Long.
Yes.
Sounded like a pitch for a horror film where Len snaps and starts stalking all of her former co-stars.
Oh.
That's not a horror film. That is actually the small print on the restraining order.
I was about to say.
I love the random pre-show conversations and segments as much as your film reviews. Here's to the next 300, Rodney.
Well, Rodney, you've now been involved in one. You've gone from Milli Vanilli to Alexander O'Neill. So
there you go. Farrell Blackwell is pointing out Cynthia Erivo does an awesome job in the Aretha miniseries. She does. But but Cynthia Erivo made her bones as a singer on Broadway as well.
Wasn't she in The Color Purple?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, while she is an actor, she is definitely an actor / singer.
Right.
So I don't think she would count. Cynthia, she's a beast. I love Cynthia Erivo. All right, so that's from Rodney. We also got an email from Savannah, Georgia, from Eric Bray.
Hey, what's up, Eric? I love Savannah too. Shout out to Savannah.
Hey there, Men of Me show. I'm still relatively new to the mission and have been working my way through the backlog of catalogs. I love what you do, and perhaps contrary to the opinion of others, could listen to a 10-hour episode of nothing but Len bitterly dissecting Tyler Perry's acrimony while Vince laughs on the sidelines.
That's my role. That's my role in the process. Angry Lynn is not my favorite Lynn, but it's in my top 5 Lyns.
I haven't listened to every episode, so I apologize if this has been mentioned before, but I'm eager to hear a discussion regarding last year's Zola, talented actor, director, Janissa Bravo's recreation of Zia King's popular Twitter thread. If nothing else, it's worth exploring Riley Keough's problematic, if not unrealistic, dialect. I'm also curious to know if 2019's Waves qualifies as a Black movie. While the director is not Black, the family at the movie center is, though I'm not sure if their race is oblique to the story's themes. Regardless, I think it's a quality film that a lot of people slept on. Speaking of which, if you ever run out of theatrical releases to discuss and move on to streaming content, and I sincerely hope you're still doing your thing long enough to see that day come, I would like to submit 2017's rap battle dramedy Bodied for your consideration. That's not the first time I've heard about that film.
Yeah.
The director may be Korean, but the film tackles racial themes in a manner relevant to the mission. At the very least, there's plenty of meat on the bone for you two to sink your teeth into. Credit to Amy Nicholson from Unspooled for turning me on to this little scene but sharp flick. Lastly, and this is off topic, but I just heard that IFC will finally air a second season of its variety show satire, Sherman's Showcase.
Oh, nice.
Created by the criminally underrated comedy duo of Bashir Salahuddin and Diallo Riddle of Southside fame. I don't know if it's been mentioned on your show, and it has been by Vincent, but it feels to me like Sherman's Showcase was manufactured in the lab for the two of you specifically. The cuts are too deep for some.
He's right.
My wife had never even seen The Last Dragon, so she couldn't find humor in geeky nuances like which eye Julius Carry squinted when he played Shonuff. Sadly, I've been left with the bittersweet experience of thoroughly enjoying something in a vacuum. I'm hoping it's been on your radar and that it lands in your sweet spot as much as I expect. Thanks for all you do and keep up the great work, Eric.
Oh, thank you, Eric. A lot of good stuff in Eric's letter.
Most definitely. Now, I know you are a big fan of Sherman's Showcase.
I am. I will have to say, I do think it is a taste.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's the type of thing I don't necessarily recommend it to people.
Yeah.
Because either you like it or you don't.
Right.
But
right.
I love, like he said, it is like something they made just for me. Like just this really bizarre parallel universe. Soul Train. But yeah, I'm very happy to hear that. And did you and I talk about Southside?
I don't know if we did it on air. I know you mentioned Southside.
Right. I think maybe I liked it more than you did.
Yeah, because that's where they play like the moving guys, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I watched a couple episodes, and it was, it was all right.
Yeah. I liked it a lot, but it's sort of the same thing. I'm not trying to knock down anybody's door.
I celebrate their success though.
Absolutely.
And Miss Makiba definitely says that she loves, I freaking love Sherman's Showcase.
It is the most bizarre show.
Drop it low for Jesus. Yes, drop it low. All right.
Now, did you see Zola?
No, I haven't.
Did you read the Twitter thread?
No, I knew about the movie. I knew what it was referencing, but I didn't want to take everything in until I actually sat down to watch the film.
I haven't seen it, but I want to see it. And then Waves, I remember when Waves was out. I'm pretty sure my dude is in it. I'm looking right at him. This Is Us, the brother from This Is Us.
Oh wow. That's everybody's show. Hold on. Sterling K. Brown.
I think he's in Waves.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, I remember Waves was out and I wanted to see it and somehow I didn't. So that's a good list of things.
Most definitely. We'll have to add them to the list.
Good looking out.
Continuing on the emails, we got an email from Ellis Heron.
Hey, what's up, Ellis?
No, Notorious.
Uh-oh.
Let's see where he's going with this one. Hey, fellas, thanks for the great review on Notorious. I especially appreciate Justin Tinsley being on it. Yo, shout out to Justin. He was a fantastic guest.
Justin Tinsley.
He brought it.
Everyone go out and buy Notorious. Buy a couple of copies.
Well, his book is actually It Was All a Dream.
Yeah.
Biggie and the World That Made Him by Justin Tinsley, in stores now. Go check that out.
Yeah. He's the real deal.
He is definitely the real deal. Shout out to Justin. He was a fantastic guest last week. With him being a teenager in the 90s like me, Ellis continues, I enjoyed his insight on Biggie and the way hip hop was back then. And Ellis says that he just added his book to his Audible library, so he'll be listening to it soon.
Excellent. Good decision.
The big question was always Tupac or Biggie. I went with Biggie because of his brand of storytelling and the way some of his tracks were a blend of rap and old school R&B, like his classic Juicy. So I posed two questions to you gentlemen. One, Tupac or Biggie, and two, with both films having their respective issues, in your opinion, which is the better, Notorious or All Eyes on Me? Keep up the good work. Your boy, Ellis from Fort Worth, Texas.
All right. Who you got, Lynn? Tupac or Biggie?
I gotta go with Biggie.
Okay.
I think that Biggie's flow, I like Biggie's flow more. I think Biggie was able to adapt to more flows. I'm thinking about like the track that he did with the I just lost the group. The First of the Month group.
Bone Thugs.
Yeah, his track with Bone Thugs. He was right in the pocket with them.
Yeah.
I thought that the other thing that I liked about Biggie is that there was no in between with Biggie. Biggie was Biggie, and he was Biggie on every single track, and you got the full scope of him. Yes. I always thought that with Tupac, you know, like people said, like the thug was fighting with the revolutionary and all that type of stuff. I also think, to a degree, I think he was trying to have his cake and eat it too. And that was my one gripe against Pac. So strictly talking about hip hop, I landed with Biggie.
Okay.
How about you?
Yeah. I think Biggie was the consummate MC. Full stop. Everything I think Biggie was an incredible storyteller. I think Biggie, as you mentioned, his flow was immaculate.
Yes.
I think Ready to Die is one of the greatest documents of a type of young black manhood that's ever been made. Like I talk about Biggie in classrooms all I talk about Ready to Die in classrooms all the time, when you realize that in many ways this is an album-wide suicide note. And just the vulnerability, the humor, the aggression, like everything in Ready to Die is brilliant. I like the idea of Tupac more than I've ever really liked the music of Tupac.
Yeah, me too.
Like I like Tupac much more when he was just talking. Like I found him to be a very thoughtful, very smart man, young man. Because again, I think it's worth noting just how young
both of them
were.
I know,
but I was always, as much like you, just looking at it from the perspective of pure hip hop, always a bit underwhelmed by his music, especially in relation to his thoughtfulness when he wasn't rapping. So, but there you go.
Now, where do you land on Notorious versus All Eyes on Me?
No, I haven't seen All Eyes on Me.
See, I haven't seen that either.
Yeah, I haven't seen All Eyes. And frankly, I probably wouldn't have watched Notorious if it wasn't for this.
No. Again, these are both movies that didn't really interest me outside of this exercise.
Right. You know, I think it's funny if you listen to the episodes from this month, and this is you more than me, where I think it rubbed you more the wrong way, the inconsistencies in the facts that would be in these films, whereas I'm just a little bit more, you know, I have a little bit more distance. So I just kind of looked at it as a movie. But we lived through what happened with Tupac and Biggie. So for me, and just to bring in the third text that we've looked at from this period, Straight Outta Compton.
Yes.
Like, as people who live through it, like it's a little bit more visceral seeing the narrative creation.
Exactly.
When we were there.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. I actually remember this time.
Exactly.
So because of that, I was avoiding Notorious anyway. But, you know.
There you go.
What you gonna do?
Ellis has a PS here.
Oh, a postscript from Ellis.
He does have a postscript.
Sounds like a book James Baldwin would have written in 1971.
For many years, the origin of Puffy's name was always shrouded in mystery.
Okay.
Word was that he wouldn't divulge the information. However, I finally found out why.
Okay.
Earlier this year, in part due to his inclusion on your show, I listened to Tommy Davidson's book, Living in Color. While making
a good read.
Yeah, pretty good read. While making Strictly Business, he met a young Sean Combs who was called Puffy since he looked like the cuckoo bird on the Cocoa Puffs cereal box.
There you go. It's actually another anecdote in the book that was ominously prescient. Tommy Davidson had a run-in with Jada Pinkett's new beau, Will Smith, on the set of Woo, when Tommy Davidson says this was a little inappropriate.
Right.
And Will Smith, you know.
Yeah.
And that's why he got sent to his aunt and uncle in the first place.
There you go.
I mean, it's right there in the beginning of the show, like he'd be getting in fights. So
we also heard from George Kimona.
Hey, George.
What's up, George, from New York, New York.
Hey, city so fun, they named it twice.
Gents and missionaries, great show last week. I, for the most part, avoided the movie, but might have to take a look. As for Len and his top 5, and this is specifically last week where I did top 5 duplicate movie titles.
Yes, yes.
Shame on you for missing the Avengers in your duplicate movie titles. Nerd card is in jeopardy. Now, hold up.
Yeah.
There's a reason why I didn't include the Avengers.
Absolutely. And the reason is
twofold. One is because this is top 5.
Yes.
So invariably, there's going to be some that is just not going to make the cut.
Right.
And 2, the Avengers was the only title you could have for both movies.
Right.
The Avengers that was based on the 60s TV spy show, British spy show.
Yeah.
That show was called The Avengers.
Yes, it was.
It preceded the Avengers comic.
Did it?
I believe it did, because they
Lynn, I see. Oh, why do you do this? Oh, you know that's the kind of thing that's like catnip.
I think they did, because
With
the Avengers,
keep talking.
the Avengers comic book premieres in early 60s, and so did the Avengers TV series.
Right. So as Lynn has mentioned, if you don't know, the Avengers was a television show that followed 2 spies in England, and it was created in 1961. And I think we might have to actually come down to the wire with this. It premiered January 7th, 1961, as opposed to the comic book,
The Avengers,
which
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that that's about 1963.
Oh, good. Look at Len.
What year was it?
September of 1963.
There you go.
Look at Lynn Webb.
There you go.
Pulling it out.
There you go.
Yeah. So it does. The television show
precedes
the comic,
which meant that a movie based on the show, which also preceded the movie, The Avengers,
yeah, absolutely,
had to be called The Avengers.
Yeah.
And the movie based on the comic book called The Avengers had to be called The Avengers. So yes, do they share the same titles? But they don't make top 5 because there was no other title for the movies.
Yeah.
They didn't have another choice.
Yeah.
So my nerd card is firmly my nerd card is embedded in my heart, George. Don't you dare come for me, George. Don't let me out you in these missionary streets about how me and my black tribbles came up there and waxed your New York butts in Star Trek trivia, dog. Don't let me do this, dog, because I will do it, dog.
I say it all the time as we live in this nerd-friendly world where you can go to the mall and buy all types of nerd stuff. There are levels to this thing.
That's right.
There are levels to this thing. Everybody get in where you fit in. Ain't nobody gatekeeping. But there are levels.
That's right.
Thing. So
that's right.
Lynn Webb.
Yeah. You see me at the door.
That's right.
If George continues, if we could create any music movie scene, it would be the origin where Nice and Smooth slighted a young Vincent Williams. As always, looking forward to the next episode. Peace and long life, George Carmona.
George Carmona. Can I give a peace offering to Nice and Smooth?
Go ahead.
I was thinking about this.
Okay.
The Nice and Smooth song, Hip Hop Junkie. I think you can make an argument. It's the greatest sample in hip hop history.
Oh, wow. Nice and Smooth, Hip Hop Junkie, that sample, which I hear the music.
You know exactly what it is. Da 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 da. I think I love you. I love you.
Okay, I guess you could make the argument. I don't think the argument's going to go far.
I mean, think about it. Those of you that don't know, that is a Partridge Family song.
Yeah.
From the television show, The Partridge Family.
Yeah, David Cassidy.
Which means that in 1980, whatever, when the gods, Pete Rock, Premier,
who, Dre? Well, Dre was.
Well, I'm thinking about the actual hip hop gods of the moment.
Okay.
Prince Paul,
most definitely.
99% of these dudes sampling jazz, sampling some funk. Someone, and I think Nice and Smooth actually produced that. I think, Greg Nice or Smooth. I think Greg Nice may have produced that. Remembered this song from remember this is before the internet. Remembered this song from the Partridge Family. Hunted down a copy of it. Used that one little part. Flipped it into that track. Just for difficulty's sake.
Yeah. I want to see what year did that come out?
I mean, it had to be like 89, 90.
Okay.
I mean, it's the golden age.
Okay. See, because I wanted to check that. Well, hold on. Let me just look. Hip hop junkies.
I'm sorry. He brought up Nice and Smooth, and I've had this peace offering for Nice and Smooth in my back pocket for like 3 months.
Yes, you did. Hip Hop Junkies was released in 1991.
Okay.
I would submit, I hear you, but that is preceded in 1988 by Run DMC using Mary Mary by the Monkees for Mary Mary.
No, because that's the hook.
That's basically the whole song.
No, right, but that that's actually not like that's part of. I mean, is that even the bridge of "I Think I Love You"?
It's in the song.
Yeah, but it's not the hook. Like it's not like.
So you're saying like they were
like
able
I'm saying in 1991, Greg Nice is 17, 18, 19, 20 years old. He's beat digging. He remembers this song before Hip Hop Junkies. Who thought about that part? And I Think I Love You. First of all, who thought about I Think I Love You?
Well, here's the thing.
If you weren't a teenage white girl.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I think that if you listen, if you're listening to something like Mary Mary by Run DMC, if you're listening to, by that time, the Beastie Boys, you're digging a little bit deeper into your collections and you're going to more of those esoteric and poppy white songs, which then gets you to, especially if you're listening to if they pull the Monkees, that's definitely going to get you over to the Partridge Family.
And who produced Mary Mary?
Wow, who knows?
I want to say Rick Rubin just because he was the white guy at Def Jam, but
yeah,
he wasn't really a Monkees guy. He was more of a rock guy.
No, he was. Let's see. Mary Mary, the song was I went to the song and not the Run DMC, John. Hold on. The Run DMC version was produced by they don't even have the producer credit. At least not that I'm seeing.
That's weird.
I know. Wow. I forgot that was off of Tougher Than Leather.
I think the Hip Hop Junkies.
Oh, it was produced by Rick Rubin, along with the Run DMC, who were like they were steeped in that type of stuff.
I was about to say Rick Rubin was on his white boy rock thing.
Yeah, but Run DMC, they weren't like hardcore like street dudes. I'm
talking about Rick Rubin as a producer.
Okay,
when you look at everything Rick Rubin did.
So that was his bag. Okay, all right.
That's not Greg Nice's bag.
Okay.
I don't know how much credit I'm gonna give Rick Rubin for sampling something he's been listening to since he was 5.
I hear you, but Farrell Blackwell is actually saying Len wins. That's nuts to pull out the Run DMC Monkey sample. Well, if Farrell Blackwell says it, I won. I don't.
Farrell Blackwell misspelled monkeys, so he's disqualified.
Oh, shut up. Anyway, Deborah Battle says, I still think Jay-Z sampling the musical Annie was just as good.
Even that, he samples the hook.
Yeah. No, I hear what you're saying. How about
like this is damn near some Pete Rock type stuff where you just pull an element from the song that's not part of the hook, that's not really part of the melody. Like when you listen to I Think I Love You, it really is just sort of that it's almost like an interstitial, they call it.
Interstitial.
Like, like it really is like those couple of seconds of him going ba 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 ba, and I think it might be at the very beginning.
It is, yeah.
And they don't repeat it.
I don't think so. I mean, it's been a while since I've heard that song.
No. I spent like 20 minutes thinking about this like 3 months ago. I'm telling you, it's a good catch.
No, it is a good catch, and it is a great. Catch. It is. I think what you have to do to throw in your argument as it being the greatest sample is to say that it's a sample that is not used as the hook,
right?
Because a lot of people are going to throw hooks at you,
right? Well, if you're using a hook, like everybody remembers, I mean, it's right there in the name.
I know
it's the hook.
You know who was good at building, like taking those little bits and pieces and stitching them together? And I can't call out exact examples right now, but Hank Shockley. He was good at it.
Oh,
yeah.
Well,
with PE.
Yeah. Well, you know, that was the PE thing. That's why they can't. That's why they can't stream it.
I know because
they sampled so much
stuff,
and now with these new programs, you can spot the sample, and they didn't pay for clearances.
Yeah, as opposed to the Beastie Boys, because the Beastie Boys paid for. I mean, and because they sample like crazy too.
Yeah.
What's the name of that one album?
Oh, Paul's Boutique.
Yeah, Paul's Boutique.
Oh, yeah, their masterpiece.
Like every song is like 1,000 samples.
Yeah, and they talk about how the great heartbreak of Paul's Boutique is that it came out however many months after 3 Feet High and Rising, where Prince Paul did the same thing, and they're like, shit.
Yeah.
So, but you know who the winner was? We were
indeed.
Anyway, that is my olive branch to Nice and Smooth.
All right.
Thank you, George, for giving me the opportunity to offer that.
There you go. All right. Let's get into the show. Since you had that little piece that you want to do, Vince, there is something that I want to share with the missionaries. If you don't mind, Vincenzo.
Hey, of course.
And I don't know if you're familiar. I know you're a huge fan of Apple TV.
Yes, I mean, easy.
Well, I mean, you watch some stuff.
I know you ain't had to call me out though. Like,
you're a fan.
I'm just saying, yes. It just feels icky. Like Apple ain't send me no check, but yes, I am.
Man, you have.
I know what I've done.
Okay. Well, anyway,
this light you're shining on me is quite bright right now.
So anyway, I recently finished binging through the 3rd season of The Umbrella Academy, which it's not bad.
My daughter loves it. I'm still
it's
catching up.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
I there's some parts where it lost me, but I stuck with it because overall I enjoy the show. I enjoy the characters. I enjoy the vibe. Right. And then in finishing that, I was looking for, all right, is there something else that I can watch? Because what I want to watch, I can't watch yet because I promised my girlfriend that I will not start The Boys 3rd season until giving her an opportunity to watch the beginning of the 1st season to see if she enjoys the show.
Sure.
And if she enjoys the show, then rewatching the first 2 seasons and then getting to the 3rd season.
Sure, of course.
So that was my promise to her. and we're just waiting for the moment for that to happen.
You're a good man, Charlie Brown.
Well, hopefully that moment will come soon because she has finished Legendary. So that's out of the way.
Okay. All right.
So anyway, I digress. So in looking for something to watch, I had heard something good on a podcast, and I don't mind shouting this out, the Film Podcast, formerly the Slash Film Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Kanata, one of the hosts on there, was talking about he had watched For All Mankind on Apple TV.
Okay.
I don't know if you're aware of this show.
I've heard good things.
Okay.
I haven't watched it, though.
For All Mankind on Apple TV is a drama that proposes the hypothetical question, what if the Russians made it to the moon before the Americans? Okay. And what would that do to the space program and to the American psyche in general? This is a sci-fi drama that was created and written by Ronald D. Moore. He famously the person who, after working on the multiple editions and renditions of Star Trek, would go on to reimagine Battlestar Galactica.
Yes, sir.
And that was primo.
Yes, sir.
Stuff.
Kind of crawled up its ass the last season, but
I liked it.
For the most part, yeah.
So this series, which is an alternate history, like I said, and stars Joel Kinnaman, Michael Dorman, Sarah Jones, Jodie Balfour, and more than a few others, has gotten, like I said, good reviews. Even though people have said it's a bit of a slow burn. Even though now I think it's just in its third season. I've heard the third season, it's a little more jacked up because each season it leaps forward in time.
Okay.
So I started with the first season, and I want to present to you, Vincent, and to the missionaries, For All Mankind lends one episode take.
Okay.
On this show. Now, like I said, this show is an alternate history about what happens if the Russians make it to the moon first and what happens to the American psyche. And what it means is, for this time in the American psyche, the Americans are like, they are not having it. They're pissed. The whole astronaut, program is like, yo, we got to straighten it out. Why can't we get there? Like the president at the time is coming down on NASA, like, yo, what's up? Like, how they get there? I thought you said we had the best stuff. We had the best people. Our engines, our rockets are supposed to be so much superior. And they're like, yeah, they are superior, but because they're superior, it takes like fine tuning to get this stuff right. But we're going to get it right. It's like, well, y'all got like pulling out my ass. So y'all got like 3 weeks or some shit like that. Right. So like the gun is on to get them to the moon. Right. So, and I think this is either the first, and I said this is one episode take, but it might be going into the second episode, kind of starts blurring a little bit. But the astronauts are like, we got to get there. We got to get there. And they're hunkering down, trying to figure it out. And of course, it leads to, you see this series of tests that they're going to try to get the rocket right, which means that in the 60s in the NASA, it's nothing but a room of white men.
Of course.
Right. Hard at work at this stuff.
Some sisters in the basement doing the math.
Now, as you see these guys going through their calculations to try to figure out, how they can get the rockets to work. One of their tests, there is an error message that is coming up on the screen, and one of the white guys can't figure it out. So cut to behind, because, in these rooms, there's always the guys that are up front on the computers. And then there's the people behind the windows that are actually on the other computers, like that mine the store of those main banks of computers. So as this guy is trying to figure out what this error light means, it cuts to the scene behind that window where someone is frantically reading through a manual because they think they have figured out exactly what that light means. And clicks on a switch, and it's like, well, I think this issue is just the Frasamans, and just hit the Frasamans, and we'll get it all straightened out. It's like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. Leave me alone. I'm gonna figure it out. Meanwhile, the head muckety muck, who is always standing there in a vest with his tie, his sleeves rolled up, he notices that somebody from behind the window seems to have the answer, but nobody's paying attention to him. When the guy up front can't figure it out, the person in back just sits back in their chairs like, I told you so. And of course, the head muckety muck in his vest comes walking up. Hey, what's your name? And the person that he's walking up to is a white woman. So it is a white woman who has figured out the problem. And nobody wants to listen to her. And it was at that moment that I checked out of For All Mankind. Because shout out to Ronald D. Moore. I just gave him all his flowers. But this show, which has been made in the wake, and I say the wake because it is not fully crested yet, the story of Hidden Figures, which told of these, while it's centered on one black woman, but there's a bank, a body, a bevy, a legion of black women who were, definitely, played a part in the success of the space race.
Right. The actual space race.
Space race. To now take this opportunity to, in this alternate history, to show some woman behind the scenes. First of all, that a woman is in that room is already historic. Because the whole thing about Hidden Figures, they were hidden because they weren't even allowed in the room.
Right.
Think of how many scenes where they would come up with the solutions and then you'd see them standing outside the door.
Right.
So for them to already have this historic moment where a woman is already on the other side of the door, and for that woman to not be a woman of color. And I'm not saying that the woman had to be a black woman. It could have been an Asian woman. It could have been a Latinx woman.
But history says it was a black woman.
History says it was a black woman.
Yeah. So,
but for it not to have been a woman of color to have them at that seat.
Yeah.
I'm calling mad bullshit.
Okay.
On that. Plus,
oh no, there's something in addition to that.
Because this alternate history, and as the space race moves on, and I just read through because I was calling bullshit.
Yeah.
But then I started reading through. It was like, let me see where things go. This alternate history, as it goes through Lyndon Johnson and it goes to Richard Nixon as the president. Richard Nixon, in seeing our opportunity to now get somebody on the moon, says, well, look, the Russians already got a guy there. So, yeah, we got to be on the moon, but it's got to be a woman. Well, you guess what woman is the first woman? What's the race of the first woman?
It's a white woman. It's not a white woman?
I don't know.
Because you didn't look?
I didn't even want to look.
Didn't even want to look?
Because I would have broke my computer.
Yeah.
Because I was already calling bullshit.
Yeah.
If for that person not to be a black, now I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I'm putting it out there right now. I could be wrong. And if someone is out there in the chat and I see there's 7, there's like the whole bunch of people are like hitting us up with comments. And none of them are even talking about For All Mankind, so they don't even care.
Right.
But I call BS on that show.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be there for it because I love alternate history.
Sure.
I love alternate history stuff. Like one of my favorite shows of the last 10 years was the Man in the High Castle.
Yeah.
Which is an alternate history of World War II that was on Amazon.
That had some race issues too, didn't it? Except like towards the end, I remember you telling me.
Yeah,
they kind of dealt with it. They kind of course corrected.
Yeah. But the show was done so smartly that I still didn't mind it.
Okay.
Yeah, I was along for the ride.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But here it totally lost me. To me, that show was just a touch tone deaf.
Well, you just saved me some time.
There
'Cause
you
I
go.
thought you were going to tell me to watch it.
No.
So,
Don't.
well, there you go.
There you go. So there's Lynn's one episode take on For All Mankind.
All right. For all mankind, but not for Lynn Mankind.
No,
All right.
not for Lynn Mankind. All right. All right, Vincent.
All right.
It's time.
It is time.
That's the key. Why you would be surprised what a person can do with just a sensitive touch and a sensitive sound.
6 Degrees of Dervell Martin, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. 6 Degrees of Dervell Martin, where Vincent will have to get from 70s action hero Dervell Martin
Icon.
in 6 movies or less.
One of the great voices of his generation.
Indeed. Indeed. You know, you were talking before the show, and we're mentioning that it is a shame that Dervell Martin has passed away, so he could no longer be on the show. But it might be interesting to try and reach out to the family of Dervell Martin.
I would love
to
that.
learn a little bit more.
Learn a little bit more about Dervell Martin, because hopefully they sense that even though we have fun with this, it is rooted in great respect.
It is indeed.
Like he has brought us much joy as we've been on the mission.
Yes, he has.
So who we got? Who we linking Mr. Martin to?
All right. So I try and make it, at least in some way, have something to do with the movie that we're doing.
Okay, connected to the documentary Amazing Grace somehow.
Yes.
Okay.
So you can have initials AF or initials FA. Which do you want first?
Oh, well, let's go alphabetical order. Let's start with AF. I assume it won't be Aretha Franklin.
No, it will not be Aretha
Right,
Franklin.
I'm going right to the Blues Brothers.
I know.
All right, go ahead.
So 6 movies or less. Get from Dervell Martin.
Dervell Martin to
Albert Finney.
Albert Finney. Oh my God. Albert Finney.
Who was not in the movie that I thought he was in, but he is in one of my favorite movies. And a movie that you could use and make your connection pretty quickly.
Albert Finney was one of those actors I see all the time. And then I forget what he was in.
Would you like me to remind you?
Is he still alive?
Albert Finney. That's a good question. I think he passed away 2 years ago, 2019. 3 years ago.
What's the last thing he was in?
The last thing he was in? All right. The last thing that Albert Finney was in was indeed, the last film was 2012's Skyfall.
Oh, that's James Bond. He was in a James Bond film? All right.
They not pivotal, but pretty.
All right. I'll put that in my pocket. I can use that. But what's before that? Because it's kind of boring how I'll get to him.
All right. Before that, he was in the same year, The Bourne Legacy.
Why is he in these genre movies?
He's an old guy.
I know. He was playing like old tough guy. So now you got Matt Damon.
You'll never link to this, but I also selected him for another reason.
Which is?
Because in 2006, he was in the British American biographical film about the campaign against the slave trade in British Empire, led by William Wilberforce. The name of that film
is
Amazing Grace.
Oh, who's in Amazing Grace with him?
He is in that film, Amazing Grace.
And use Daniel Craig and Matt Damon.
He's in that film with Ian Gruffudd, Ciarán Hinds, a great character actor, Michael Gambon of Harry Potter fame, Albert Finney, and one Doctor Strange himself, Benedict Cumberbatch. Now I've just given you your connections now.
I know. All right, we'll do Daniel Craig. D'Urville Martin is in The Final Come Down with Sidney Poitier. No, I'm sorry, Billy D. Williams, who is in Lady Sings the Blues with Richard Pryor, who's in Harlem Nights with Eddie Murphy, who's in Boomerang with Halle Berry, who's in whatever movie that was in whatever Bond movie that was in with Daniel Craig.
Halle Berry?
Yeah.
That's incorrect.
That's incorrect.
She was not in a Bond film with Daniel Craig.
That's the wrong dude. All right, so let's do Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
That is terrible. All right. All right. So I gotta get to Matt Damon. D'Urville Martin is in D'Urville Martin is in Sheba Baby. Pam Greer's in Jackie Brown with Samuel Jackson. Samuel Jackson is in Pulp Fiction with Ving Rhames. Ving Rhames is in Baby Boy with Tyrese. Tyrese is in Four Brothers with Matt Damon. Matt Damon apparently is in The Bourne. Would you say it's The Bourne Ultimum?
Matt Damon is not in the Four Brothers.
That's not Matt Damon?
It's not Matt Damon.
It's Mark. That's Marky Mark.
Yes, that's Marky Mark.
Oh my goodness. All right. All right. Matt Damon. All right. Boy, the white boys are jamming me up right now.
They're all
the interchangeable white boys. My weakness.
It's your kryptonite.
It's my kryptonite. All right. Let's try this again.
Let's try to take three.
Take three to get to Matt Damon.
You try to get to. I'm
trying to get Albert Finney. Oh. All right. All right. Let me hunker down.
I'm giving you one more shot, and then I'm going to give you the movie that's going to get you there.
Okay. All right. D'Urville Martin. Same first couple of moves. Sheba Baby, Pam Grier. Pam Grier's in Whatchamaface with Samuel Jackson, Jackie Brown. Samuel Jackson is in Mo Better Blues with Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington is in He Got Game with Rosario. And I know I'm all over the place with this. He Got Game with Rosario Dawson. Rosario Dawson is in, what is the name of that? Which Kevin Smith movie is that with the Angels?
Oh, it's not Clerks.
It's not Clerks, but of course I can't get Clerks out of Dogma.
Yeah.
Dogma with Matt Damon, who's in The Bourne Ultimatum with Albert Finney. I mean, that's right.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
He's in the Bourne Ultimatum.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. That was ugly.
You
That
got
was
there.
ugly. Who's the FA?
You got there. Okay, you ready for the FA?
I'm ready for the FA.
All right,
'Cause I'm trying to get the F away from the FA.
well, you did good. I mean, hey, you got there.
It
You
was
got
ugly.
there.
All right.
This one it'll a lot easy.
Okay.
A lot easy.
I hate when you say that.
No, it is.
All right.
is.
A lot of pressure when you say that.
Get from Derville Martin
Derville Martin.
to Franklin Ajay.
Oh, Franklin Ajay. Yeah. Okay. Well, Franklin Ajay, that's fun. Derville Martin is in. How do I want to get to Franklin Ajay? Because I know where I'm going to get. Oh, boom. Derville Martin.
Tell me how he wants to flex.
Derville Martin is in Guess Who's Coming to Dinner with Sidney Poitier.
Yes.
Sidney Poitier is in A Raisin in the Sun with I just forgot his name. The brother from Hogan's Heroes.
Oh, Ivan Dixon.
Ivan Dixon.
Mm,
Ivan Dixon is in Car Wash with Franklin Ajay.
very good. I knew you were going to get. I knew you were going to
Yeah, Franklin Ajay. That's
Car
it.
Wash.
You haven't used a Negro in many episodes.
Well, and
Thank you for giving me a black person to link to.
you're welcome. I did that because I knew Albert Finney was going to.
Albert Finney what was the Albert Finney movie you thought I'd get to immediately?
Well, the one that I thought, because it has a number of stars in it, but admittedly they're all white, is Murder on the Orient Express.
Oh yeah.
Because he plays Hercule Poirot.
Oh.
But then the movie that
What was that from the 90s?
no, that's like the 80s.
Oh yeah.
But the movie that I you could have gotten there with was actually Murder on the Orient Express in 1974. Was Aaron Brockovich.
Oh,
with Julia Roberts.
I've never seen that.
Oh, it's not a bad movie.
I hear it's good. I've just never seen it.
Yeah.
I hear, speaking of biopics that they say they took extensive liberties.
Extensive liberties
with that actual
one. Yes. Yes.
Albert Finney's in that. See, Albert Finney
He actually was nominated for Best Supporting Actor.
really.
Mhm.
All right, good for you, Albert Finney. Well, there you go.
He was a beast.
I know, but I think he's one of those great actors that vanishes into the role.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, he actually did a lot of work. Like he did film, he did television, he did a lot of, a fair amount of stage as well.
Okay.
All
right. Well, there you go. All
right.
And you gave me a black.
Yeah.
A genuine black.
A genuine black, which is one of our designs. It's available on T Public.
There you go.
Check it out.
It's a synergy. All right.
Check it out.
Speaking of genuine black.
Well, speaking of genuine black and speaking of Car Wash, speaking of 70s blaxploitation films, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed hearing Vince get there, wait till you see the connections that are coming next week on the Michaud Mission. As we come out of Black Music Month, it's time for another binge lounge.
Yeah.
And we've got a special binge lounge that is planned for you. We have none other than author Josiah Howard, the author of Blaxploitation, the Essential Reference Guide.
Yeah, and that's not an idle boast.
No, it's not.
It is actually essential.
It is so dope.
Really is.
It is so dope. What I love about it is that he interviews like 20 great directors from the Blaxploitation era.
Right. Which that wasn't even necessary.
I know.
Like it could have just been the encyclopedia part.
Exactly. And what I also love, like like you mentioned, it is almost an encyclopedia of the blaxploitation films, but it's not just dry listings of plot, cast, production credits or whatever. He gives a little spin. Each listing is like a mini review of the movie.
Yeah.
And that's what I love. That's a man to put his blood, sweat, and tears into it. And he will be joining us live next week as we create Sweetback's badass universe. The shared universe of the blaxploitation era, right here live on the Michaud Mission next week, ladies and gentlemen. Same time, 7 p.m., same day, Tuesday, July 5th. The Binge Lounge is going to be off the hook. Sweetback's badass universe next week here on the Michaud Mission.
It's going to be a great time.
Oh, I cannot wait. My top 5 for that is already done.
All right.
It is already done. Like, that's why I couldn't come up with a top 5 for this for this week. It is going to be and Farrell Blackwell wants to know, are we dressing up for this one? Funny thing about that, Farrell.
Oh boy.
I put it out there.
He did.
For my compadre, my partner in crime.
He did.
Vincent, to join me.
He did.
In regaling ourselves.
He floated this idea.
In the accoutrement of the period.
He did.
Of which we will be celebrating next week.
Yes. Yes, he did.
To which Vincent said, nay.
No.
I say, however, if I deem it worthy to be washed in time, I will wear my Blackula t-shirt.
Yes. Yes.
That is the extent of his dressing up.
Yeah. Yeah. Or my Cotton Comes to Harlem t-shirt. There you go. There you go.
I, however, will be adorned in appropriate 70s blaxploitation attire.
And will be resplendent in polyester.
I don't know if I'm going to go polyester.
I mean, if you go in 70s.
It's summer. It's summer.
Okay.
Look.
All right.
I don't know about that.
All right.
But it's going to be funky. It's going to be a funky good time.
It's going to be a stone cold groove, baby.
Amen. Next week here on the Michaud Mission. All right. Let's get into our review of Amazing Grace. But first, time for Trailer Talk.
Trailer Talk.
Where Vincent and I just shooting the shit about stuff that ain't going to make it on the show unless it's some good stuff.
I don't know how good it's going to be this week.
But chances are it's not.
I was about to say.
And then we're just going to get into the...
Yeah, get into the review. Boy, Lynn made me laugh earlier this afternoon. I'm going to save it for the actual episode. But boy, Lynn Webb had me chuckling to myself for about 10 minutes.
No. Oh, God.
Well, let's go ahead and get into, because I'm really interested in hearing your review.
All right, let's get into our review, ladies and gentlemen, of Amazing Grace.
All right.
Let me just pull up my reference here.
Oh, no. It is you. I thought you were starting.
As far as like I'm reviewing it?
Yeah, I thought you were starting. So
Oh, no. I am. I got to get my, I had, you know what? I think my notes are over on the couch. I'll be right back.
Well, that's a good place for them.
Shut up.
That's the kind of thing my mother would say to me if I forgot my gloves somewhere or something and something wasn't with me. She'd say, well, that's a good place for them. Because I come from a long line of family members who discipline through mockery.
You know, you have it honed to such a perfection. I actually believe
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I actually believe that.
Oh, yeah.
And actually, watching your brother in the comments.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Mockery was very much a disciplinary rule.
Like, I don't know how your
disciplinary tool in the
how your
Williams
sister
household.
dealt with the two of you.
Look.
Does she dish it out
Absolutely.
as well? Okay.
Absolutely.
So she seems like the sweet one.
Yeah, well, in contrast.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's go.
Amazing Grace, a 2018 documentary directed by Alan Elliott and Sidney Pollack. In 1972, after a series of 11 consecutive hits, already deemed the Queen of Soul, 29-year-old Aretha Franklin recorded Amazing Grace, the most successful gospel album of all time at the New Temple Missionary Baptist Church in Los Angeles. The plan was for Sidney Pollack to document the creation of this album,
yes,
and then release the concert film in concert with the release of the album, perhaps as a double bill with a quote-unquote blaxploitation film at the time.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, due to some technical errors, the film was not able to be completed. After going through a series of legal hoops, technical hoops, personal hoops, this hoop and that hoop, the film was finally released in 2018. Amazing Grace, a documentary, again by Alan Elliott, who finished the film, and Sidney Pollack, who began the film, was the choice of Lynn Webb as we end our Black Music Month celebration of 2022. Lynn, what do you have to say about Amazing Grace?
I selected this film because I suspected that this film would pretty much be just a celebration of the greatness that is Aretha Franklin. There are titles that get thrown around. You know, Michael Jackson's the King of Pop. James Brown, the Godfather of Soul. Aretha Franklin of Soul. And one of the other titles that gets thrown around in regards to Aretha Franklin is she is noted as the voice. And it's like, if you, especially we're now in 2022. So if you've only known Aretha Franklin from maybe the mid to late 70s, 80s, you know, trying to mess around with the disco era, maybe being rediscovered by hip hop. She does a couple of ballads, one with Lauryn Hill, which, you know, historically,
Rose is full of rose.
You know her as a majestic presence in the world of music, a person who everyone kneels and genuflects before, rightfully so. Perhaps you know her as the woman that was personally selected to sing for the Pope. And what a majesty she was then. In her later years, she would lend her voice to arias and opera and show that her voice could translate into any language, into any genre. But if you only know her from then and you revisit some of her albums, you're only really getting 2 to 4 minute snippets of the true greatness of Aretha Franklin. And you're also maybe getting, to a degree, a bit of a codified Aretha Franklin, because great as she is with her 11 hits that you just listed, everybody knows Respect and Say a Little Prayer. Everybody knows all of her hits. As great as she is, Aretha Franklin grew up first and foremost the church.
Mm-hmm.
Her father was a preacher, and she's a preacher's daughter. And that is where she honed that gift. That is where that voice found its range. It's learned how to reach for the stars, how to bring from below, learned how to do these amazing runs, became this magnificent treasure and weapon of hers. And I knew, or I suspected, that this film was going to be the ultimate testament to this, because if anyone has ever heard her live album, The Amazing Grace, it is beautiful. It is magnificent. It is what everyone wants their choir and their lead singer to sound like.
Yeah,
that album on any song,
that's quite the understatement. Yes.
is the template.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
For what you want it to sound like when you go to church on Sunday. Unless you think that is all fake, this would put that all to rest. Put any doubts to rest about how truly magnificent that moment in time was, and how truly amazing Aretha Franklin is.
Yeah.
Because the first thing, there's two things. The first thing that I noticed in this film, this document in time, is that even though this is filmed over a course of 2 days, her recording the album at the New Temple Missionary Baptist Church in Los Angeles. And not to be mistaken, this is not too long after the Watts riots. So this is definitely a town, a moment in time where there are people that are looking for a little bit of direction. They're looking for some peace. They're looking to believe in something again. Even though this is filmed over a couple of nights in time, this movie opens up and it feels like people are going to church, because they are getting dressed up. They're getting dressed to the nines. They are coming in. They're finding their seats. They're like, "Oh, how you doing? Yeah, we here for a nice night." It just takes you back, and it takes you back to where church as it was when me and you were coming up. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Where, the mothers, the mothers of the church were up front. The children were sitting there, hands in on their laps. They were quiet. People were dressed for church. They were looking resplendent. People were talking. They were abuzz, but they were respectful.
Yeah.
It was also hot in the church, because don't matter how many fans you got, church equals heat. It don't matter what day of the year it is, church equals heat.
An air conditioner is never quite working.
No, it's never working.
If it's there at all.
It's never working. That's why the air conditioner is next to the chart for the building fund.
Yeah.
Because once the building fund reaches a certain level, then we can turn the air conditioner on. This air conditioner, when it reaches another level, we'll buy the other air conditioner for the other side of the church.
You real black right now.
But that's what this church was.
You talking about the building fund.
That's what this church was. That's what this church was. That's the first thing you know. That's the first thing you notice. The second thing I noticed is that as the great honorable and probably the first name in gospel music, especially at this time, the Reverend James Cleveland,
yes,
opens up this church and he introduces his choir.
Yes.
If you have been, taught over the last 20, even possibly 30 years, that when the choir comes in, they're coming in stepping, they're coming in bopping, you know, they're coming to somebody's doing a beatbox, somebody is leading them and like almost like, you know, drum line coming down. No, not in 1972 choir. That ain't how we get down. Not James Cleveland Southern California Community Choir.
That's right.
Because this is the community choir.
Yeah.
These are people from the community.
Yeah.
These
They
are
work at the phone company.
They work at the phone company. They work at their mailmen.
Mm-hmm.
They are people. They're trash men. They are phone operators who get together and put on. Now, I will say they all had kind of like shiny vests. I think Aretha may have splurged for a little bit of bling.
Yeah, see, I feel like somebody in the choir sewed them over a series of 3 weekends.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
But she paid for the material.
Okay, all right.
The film crew paid for the material, and y'all can put y'all. But then they come in, and it ain't a bop, it ain't a drum line. It's just a it's real Sunday.
Look,
it's real Sunday, dog. It's real Sunday.
This ain't no game.
Yo, and I am there for it.
Mm-hmm.
I am there for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because that choir, they take their time.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to miss those steps.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because walking into the church, that's a little bit of a ramp.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little bit of, you know, that's steep. So you got to take your time. You get to the steps, and you got to pull up your choir. You know, they taking their time. Loved every moment of it.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing I noticed is that I love that this is a moment in time for Aretha Franklin. Aretha Franklin, for those that don't know, and part of the reason why this film, filmed in 1972, doesn't come out until 2018, Aretha Franklin is an intensely private person.
Yeah, yeah.
Part of that is because, as people have learned reading over her biographies over the course of years, she is a product of some severe childhood trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Losing her mother at an early age, a victim of some abuse as a child. And she did have struggles with alcohol, and I believe with some other substance issues over the course of time.
She's had challenges.
Yes, she's had challenges. And because she is, you know, a public figure, those stories are out there. She is intensely private about her things. She is not going to let you know any more about her than you need to know.
Right.
And that is still Aretha Franklin in 1972. Very much at the heights of her powers, as we mentioned. She is like already at this young age. I believe she's maybe 30 years old.
Yeah, I think she's 29.
Yeah, yeah. She is already the queen of soul. But this film, Aretha Franklin does not speak.
There it is.
A word.
There it is.
Until the very end.
There it is.
Of this film.
Mm-hmm.
The only window you have into who Aretha Franklin is, as presented by this film, is the window that she has always opened up to you. And that is Aretha Franklin singing.
Mm-hmm.
But in this film, she is opening her window that much wider, because this is truly Aretha Franklin singing her origin story, singing gospel music, singing the devoted hymnals of your mother, your grandmother's gospel. And I present to you that it is one of the most mesmerizing, powerful scenes on earth. It is also, despite, because the church is hot, despite the many, many, many glistening droplets of sweat that are on her brow and on her face that slightly smear her eye makeup as she sings. It is also one of the most effortless displays of this prowess you will ever see.
Yeah.
You will ever see. There are people that kneel at the altar of, Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, Patti LaBelle.
Mm-hmm.
None of them have nothing on Aretha Franklin. Aretha Franklin opens up her mouth slightly and she fills that entire church with soul, with love, with heart, with devotion. It is so incredible. And it doesn't matter what song she sings. There's a song she sings, Precious Memories.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Her hum has soul.
Yeah.
Singing that song.
Yeah.
Man. She also sings with the choir, How I Got Over. Dude, I honestly, like, I've heard that song sung in churches before, but every time I hear it sung in churches, I go back to where I hear it sung in Uptown Saturday Night.
Yes.
I will never hear it from Uptown Saturday Night ever again.
Look.
There is no other rendition of How I Got Over but Aretha Franklin telling you exactly how she got over.
Yeah.
It is so incredible, so joyful. And that doesn't even touch the majesty, the magnificence of her singing the title song, Amazing Grace, which is one of the best, if not the best, musical moments ever put to film. Full stop. One, because it's Aretha Franklin. She's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Two, because it's live. This is not a mashup. This is not her going and singing over the video of this. This is her in the church singing it live. And three, you can see the effects that her singing this song has on Aretha.
Yeah.
On James Cleveland, who cannot contain himself.
Yeah.
On the entire congregation who don't care about the cameras anymore. They are in church. They is at a Baptist service and the Holy Ghost is in the building.
Yeah.
And it is just amazing moment in time.
Yeah. Yeah. I was joking that Lynn made me laugh. Earlier, I texted Lynn and I said, Aretha Franklin is really good at singing. And Lynn said, yep, shortest episode ever. Because that really could just be the review.
Exactly.
Like everything that you said about this documentation of this moment is magnificent. As you said, I 100% agree with you. I think Aretha Franklin is the greatest singer in history, full stop, no modifier, nothing. And this moment during her classic run,
yes,
from like 69 to like 76 or so, is the crest.
Yes.
So that everything that you said, you're talking about, she wrecks the people in the audience at the church. When I saw this in the movies in Bryn Mawr.
That's right, because you saw it in the theaters. Yeah.
I could barely contain myself. As I watched it this afternoon, sitting on my sofa, I spent more time than not going, go on. It's like, this is a woman whose voice has been touched by God.
I know.
Like, you really just cannot deny this voice. The documentary itself, a couple of, it's like the voice is so pure and so wonderful. And it's only so many ways you can say pure and wonderful that you do look for other things. Much like you, it is striking the sort of dichotomy between this voice and the moments where she isn't singing. I don't know if I've ever seen footage of Aretha Franklin where she looks so young.
Yeah.
Like her manner is a bit tenuous.
Mm-hmm.
Where if you didn't know this was Aretha Franklin, you would think this was a James Cleveland concert.
And this is his lead singer.
And this is his lead singer.
Because you can see how deferential she is to him.
She's so deferential to him. He is such a huge personality.
Yes.
He has so much charisma.
Yes.
He commands the room like he really is a preacher. Like this really is also a great showcase for James Cleveland. And the way he moves this choir.
But let's give a shout out to the true choir director, Alexander
Hamilton, who was fantastic. But even with him, James Cleveland is in charge.
Oh yeah.
Like he really is orchestrating.
Amen.
Entire and he's I mean, it really is like a good preacher. It really is a gift and a skill. And James Cleveland has it. The way he kind of moves this stuff around. As you said, we do not hear Aretha Franklin's speaking voice.
I know.
Until the very end where she thanks everybody for coming.
And think about that, ladies and gentlemen, because she is coming to this church to record this live album, and everybody's coming there. They know what they're in there for. And James Cleveland is kind of like the master of ceremonies. Aretha Franklin, and this is not a knock, she doesn't even say hello to the audience.
Look, she's there to do. Look, I am there for this music. I'm here for this project. You get the sense that she is completely focused on what's at hand. And this is not someone in concert with niceties. You know, here's a little ditty that I sang when I was 9. That's not what she's here for.
Not here. Not this. That's not this show.
I think this says a lot about the church, especially at this moment in history, which has traditionally been a masculine space. So part of it is James Cleveland is a man. So he's supposed to be in charge. You know, even the moment towards the end where her father, Reverend C.L. Franklin, gets up and speaks, but he commands this space. Like these are men who are used to being in front of a congregation.
There's a cute moment between them, between her father and Aretha, when she is singing at the piano and he kind of like wipes the sweat off her brow. And it's a cute moment, but it also is like a moment where, again, you talk about how young she looks. She's every bit the 29-year-old daughter. In that moment. Like Daddy, stop.
Right. And a child of the church. She really does. And it's a striking energy to see from Aretha Franklin. As you said, you know, for men our age and certainly people younger than us, she was so regal. Like she really was the queen. And in her bearing and the way she talked. So to see her almost vulnerable like this was striking. I love the choice that both you know, not so much Sidney Pollack and as we mentioned, Sidney Pollack taped it. They had problem with the synchronicity
because Sidney Pollack, in his defense, a very, very young Sidney Pollack. I think he had only directed one feature. And this was his first documentary. Right. And like you mentioned, he didn't use a clapper, so there was no synchronicity between the audio and the video, which made it very hard.
Took years and years for this to get fixed. Alan Elliott is the one who finally put it together, basically.
Right, because Sidney Pollack, who unfortunately
he was dying.
he was dying, and he handed it off to him.
I love the choice that Alan Elliott makes, that this is just pure footage. Like a lot of documentaries, you know, you get the talking heads, you get the little cuts in between, and I like a lot. Like I love, you know, now it's Questlove sitting in a studio talking about, you know, Bernard Purdie on drums or something.
For Summer of Soul, right?
Or just, you know, it's almost like the Ken Burns approach, where you have this footage and then you have a talking head kind of framing the footage,
commentating on it, right?
You don't need it for this.
No.
This is just pure art. It's just this pure document. And I love that Amazing Grace trusts us as the audience, that we don't need to be guided through this. And I love that it has enough respect and trust for this footage, that it knows this footage can stand on its own. Like it really is, you know, it starts, Aretha starts out with Holy Holy.
Oh my God. Which is
it's a Marvin Gaye song.
Cover of a Marvin Gaye song.
Yeah.
Whew. That's another one. Like I'll never listen to Marvin's again.
Yeah. Look, Aretha Franklin is really good at singing. This is a masterpiece.
She's really good at singing, but it also was very cool because even though I knew from the live album that she was playing the piano, and I've certainly seen her play the piano, but it's another thing to watch her singing that song and playing the piano at the same time. And again, I guess maybe it's the youth of her, you know, the youthful energy that she presents. It really was just like a really beautiful moment watching her sing, especially that Holy Holy.
Right,
really...
which, you know, you don't read too, you know, I think part of the danger of a documentary like this, now I'm going to contradict myself, where you don't have the talking heads guiding you through and kind of creating a narrative. You kind of create one in your head. I did think it was noteworthy that she starts out with basically a secular song, and she's sitting behind a piano, and then she stands up. And now, and it's like as the film goes on, it's like she gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah,
behind the mic. And it's extraordinary. Like this is a masterpiece. This is an actual masterpiece.
Speaking of creating your own narrative, I read that as, again, knowing how private she was and watching her. She's at the height of her powers, but there are moments even then in the beginning of this whole exercise where she looks a little passive, a little, you know, nervous.
Yeah.
And I think the impetus there to have her seated, rooted in the one spot at the piano, which is smart because it's now her hands have something to do.
Right.
They have to play. The singing is going to take it, you know, take care of itself. And I think it's very knowing that it says something that when she does start singing, she closes her eyes. Remember, she hasn't greeted the audience. She's come in, sat down outside of, like, you know, touching a couple of hands as she's walking down the aisle. She really just seats herself at the piano and then is really kind of like just locked in, like, when do I start? Right. And then she closes her eyes to begin. And it is almost like it's like the woosah moment for her is what Holy Holy provides for her, as taking her into the rest of the evening. I think it was smart.
And it grows and grows. She ends with "We will never grow old." At this point, this is the second night. Her father is there. Legendary gospel icon Clara Ward is there.
Yes.
As we mentioned, James Cleveland is there. By the time she gets to "We will never grow old," Aretha Franklin actually destroys the church.
She does. Yep.
Clara Ward falls out. Her father falls out.
Clara Ward's mother falls out.
The damn choir falls out.
Yeah.
Aretha has sung herself happy. Like it is again, I don't know how many different ways you can say it's amazing. And I just love the fact, as you said at the beginning, that this is captured.
Yeah.
That this is actually documented. Because you wouldn't even believe, like you wouldn't believe this.
No.
Unless you saw it.
No, you wouldn't.
I don't know how people were in the room. Like without hyperbole, without like, I don't understand how you could be in that room on that choir. Hell, James Cleveland, I don't know how you could be that close to her while she's singing. Like, it just seemed like it was damn near too much watching it on TV.
It was. We didn't even mention that also in the audience was Mick Jagger,
Mick Jagger
and Charlie Watts.
That's right. From the Rolling Stones.
Who were in town finishing their Exile on Main Street album. And actually, I believe it was critic Jordan Hoffman believes that the gospel inflections of songs from that album, Shine a Light and Let It Loose, possibly were inspired by Mick Jagger's visit to this recording. And that's not hard to imagine.
You know, yes. You mean the Rolling Stones were influenced by some black singers?
Yes. Well, yeah.
I'm glad I was sitting.
Okay.
When you dropped that little bombshell.
Okay. All right. True. Well, the Rolling Stones weren't Led Zeppelin. They didn't. They didn't rip off black singers.
No,
Rolling Stones were.
No one was Led Zeppelin.
Yeah. So there's a difference. I'm not going to arch my eye too much at Mick Jagger.
Oh boy, yeah. I guess if you're comparing them with Led Zeppelin never met a barefoot blues singer they didn't want to steal from.
For real.
Oh boy. So yeah, look. I don't even know what else to say. Look. Like, we can talk about, you know, it was held up in legalities. Aretha didn't want it released for years. There was money involved at some point. You know, the argument is she wanted some money for it. There's a couple of articles that talk about she didn't want it released for undisclosed reasons at some point, which, again, to kind of bring your own narrative into it, I do wonder how comfortable she was with how vulnerable she looks.
And I actually think that's what it was.
Like, this is quite transparent.
I think
her body language and everything. You know, this isn't the Aretha Franklin, you better think persona. That we all know.
I honestly want to believe that, you know, I'm sure there probably were some money issues, but I have to imagine that, you know, no one was trying to get over on her money wise.
Right.
So I really do imagine that it is how vulnerable, because if we see or are perceiving that she looks vulnerable to us.
Right. And we're not the only ones who've interpreted it like that.
Exactly.
Either. Yeah.
Imagine how she is seeing it.
Yeah.
You know? So I can definitely appreciate that. I also appreciate that, you know, this was released after she passed, after the producers were able to reach an agreement with her family.
Right, with her estate.
And it's not hard to imagine that her estate, they could have just landed on, well, if she didn't want to release, we're not going to release it.
Which there's an argument to be made. They didn't respect her wishes.
There is, but I want to believe that they maybe had maybe a window into who Aretha was, you know, the person that she was, and realizing that if, you know, there's some people, like, you know, given their own wishes, like, a lot of stuff wouldn't get done. You know, sometimes you gotta drag them too.
Well, you know, it would make me sad if Aretha Franklin is in heaven And she doesn't like, but I do think that this is a document that serves the public good.
Oh my God, yes.
That actually makes the world a better place.
It does.
So
it does.
So I guess.
And I also appreciate it because as much as we still listen to music, let's face it, the world has moved into the visual realm now.
Yes.
And I think to be able to witness the queen in her full regalia it's a time capsule that is worth constantly opening. I cannot wait. I was telling you, I'm going to be having a get together over here at my house in a few weeks, and this film, which is streaming on Hulu right now. I'm just letting you know, Hulu is up there for free. My older sister, who was a huge Aretha Franklin fan, that is her favorite singer, full stop. Well, next to Eddie Kendricks, but we won't get into that. That's a whole nother issue.
Keep on trucking, baby.
Please, just keep on moving.
Keep on trucking.
But she doesn't have Hulu, so she's not seen this.
Okay.
And I cannot wait for when she comes over here, and I'm just going to plop her down on the couch and just say, "Here, this is the TV is yours for the next 2 hours." Just
I envy
yourself.
her seeing this for the first time.
Yeah, she's never seen it. She's never seen it. I can't wait to debut this for her.
So, Lynn,
yes, I would recommend if you have not seen Amazing Grace, everyone within the sound of my voice should stop what you're doing, because we're at the end of the podcast, and go and watch Amazing Grace.
Absolutely. This is required viewing.
Yep.
This is required viewing, and something just to underline something that you mentioned, from the choir marching in to the call and response with the congregation, which is what it was, from the way C.L. Franklin and James Cleveland navigated this space. This is also a document of pure blackness.
Yeah.
Like, this is so pure and so unfiltered. So, and from this time, like,
all we needed was an altar call.
Right. Like many, if you are too young to remember church when it was like this, if you've never been to a black church, this is a beautiful document.
Yep. Right.
Of the splendor of black church at its best.
Most definitely.
So yeah, absolutely. This is required viewing.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Pure black indeed. All right. Before we tell you again about what's happening next week, check out the Micheaux Mission 2 Men 1 podcast, every black film ever made. Go to micheauxmission.com. That's MICHEAUXMISSION.com, where you can hit swag and check out all the cool designs that we have available for you from our good friends at TeePublic. We got our 6 Degrees of Derval Martin collection up there. We've got our genuine black design up there. Check it all out. You can leave us an idea of what's on your head. Email us at micheauxmission@gmail.com. Leave us a voicemail at 215-867-9666. Voicemail might actually get played on the show. You can follow the Micheaux Mission on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Micheaux Mission. Subscribe to us on YouTube and Twitch, as well as give us a 5-star rating and a review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, because that really helps people find our show. The Micheaux Mission is a proud member of The Podglomerate, thepodglomerate.com. We make podcasts work. All right. Next week here on the Micheaux Mission, Sweetback's Badass Universe with author Josiah Howard of the Blaxploitation Essential Reference Guide. Vincent and Josiah, let me sit in as these two 70s nerds just do all the heavy lifting and connect all the dots to create a shared universe of the Blaxploitation era of 70s films. Oh, How many degrees of Derville Martin is this one?
You know he's right in the middle of
He's
this.
right there. He's right there. But is he the watcher?
Well, I'll give you a little peek. The supernatural branch.
Mm-hmm.
He's the link between white horror and black horror because he's in Rosemary's Baby. That's a little peek. That's a little something I'm gonna leave y'all with. That's a little taste. That's a little taste I'm gonna leave y'all with. Just a little something.
Oh, I love it.
Arguably, Watermelon Man, also supernatural, also Derville Martin. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Just a little peek, a little taste. Something
Derville Martin.
Something to hold you till next week.
Walking around with the eye Agamotto and we didn't even know it. All right, that's next week here on the Show Mission, ladies and gentlemen. Until then, he's Vince, I'm Len, and in parting, we say,
we'll see you when it's time to meet again.